What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Cinema Royale. I know I always say what day we're coming to, even though this is like recorded and you might be listening to it 5 years from now, but happy Tuesday afternoon. I'm losing track of time myself. I mean, it's already almost July.
It's always weird when we do the shows in the middle of the week. We're so used to doing them on weekends or Sundays.
Yeah,
When we do it in the middle of the week, it's just kind of like, wait, what? It just feels a little strange. So,
yeah.
well,
And we're on the cusp of the real breakthrough. I mean, I guess you could say we've already had kind of the breakthrough for the box office since COVID, but you just got back from seeing F9, which releases this weekend. I mean, that's like the first of the major deluge of delays, right?
can you imagine? We should have seen this a year ago.
I know. Yeah.
It's been done for over a year. And I mean, it's been sitting on it, waiting. I remember when it got delayed, they pushed it back a full year. And we were like, that's just too long. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing I'd like to understand from like a psychological point of view is it has been a year, and last year hearing that movies were delayed, and let's not even it's not even just movies. I mean, our entire lives were delayed for a year basically. Now at the end of it, it seems like it was a snap of the fingers, but it takes so long to get there. But then looking back, it's so quick, and we're on the cusp of Black Widow and all these movies that we should have been tired of talking about by now. We're just getting ready to see.
We're only just now getting ready to see them. But
Hmm.
like I said, everything was. I mean, 2020. Other than the fact that almost 600,000 people died, which is just insane to think about.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like that year almost didn't happen. A
Yeah.
lot of things, you know. Um,
I mean, and it's
think
only
about
human nature for us to like not belittle's not the word I'm looking for, but like related to movies and stuff like that. Yeah,
I
way
was thinking
way too
about
many people died, but
yeah. I mean, I was thinking about how people are kind of are rushing out to do things now in the summertime, like in crazy numbers, and I'm like,
hmm
nobody had a vacation last year. Nobody did anything. Like
right.
no one did anything last year.
And
last year.
those numbers are even bigger because you have a big group of people, and I feel confident saying this because my wife and I and our family are definitely part of them. That people that never did anything before, and then once it's taken away from you, you're like, "Ooh, we really should have been doing stuff because this isn't always permanent." So you got a lot of that going on too. So
Yep. I mean, shit. I'm looking to go on a vacation this summer. How many times have I taken a vacation? I haven't taken a vacation in over a decade, I think.
well,
So
considering every trip you take is centered around movies,
I can
I
afford to
don't
say
think I
no.
don't remember you taking. I think you took a cruise, like
I've
one of the first two movie
okay.
years we
Well,
met.
during the years that we've been doing this, I've taken I think exactly 4 trips. I went to Hawaii twice,
Oh, that's right. Yep.
and I've gone to St. Martin twice.
Yep. Okay,
And
so it wasn't a cruise with St. Martin. I remember you doing something, but I do also remember it was like 8 years ago. So
yeah, it's been forever. I mean, shit. I
yeah,
was married back then
yeah,
for all of those things. That's been a long time. So yeah, even I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here and go do something and go somewhere because I haven't gone anywhere. Like I didn't have even the work trips last year, other than Sundance, and
yeah,
that was in January. But I didn't have my Sundance, my Comic Con trip. I took no trips out to LA or anything. So even I'm antsy. Like I need to go somewhere and do something.
yeah. And we're
Like I'm
finally,
not
it
taking
seems
my
through it.
I'm not
I,
taking my laptop if I go. If I go anywhere
no,
this time, I'm not taking me anything. I'm just gonna be like, John, it's up to you. Hold the
you,
fort.
it'll sink or swim. Let it grow, and you go and have fun. But I mean, I like to imagine everybody on the planet judges their entire lives by movies and movie releases the way I do or we do, in that these movies coming back is a big sign that the doors are opening to the kingdom again, and we're heading out there. But this week we had a couple smaller movies really to tide the way. I watched Into the Heights another time, and it's such a happy movie. It just really is. I mean, there's obviously a lot of sadness in it, but it's for the most part, even the sad turns that I don't want to spoil for anybody that hasn't seen it, have a positive connotation to them at some point. Happy movie, but
Yeah, and I still haven't watched it since it's been available on HBO Max. I haven't watched
well, Melissa Barrera is a part of the reason I watched it again. I won't lie and say that's not the case. But yeah, so
there's a lot to look at in the nines. Let's put it that way.
oh yeah, especially and if you're a
Especially
Brooklyn Nine Nine
for a guy
fan,
like you who is let's say uh, Latinx flavored.
yes,
You are drawn
hmm I have a. There's some salsa in this white boy oatmeal. Let's put it that way.
So yeah,
Um,
sure you dug it, and there will be plenty to look at in F9 this weekend too. So, but you know that already.
yeah,
But
but
it's
so
happening. It.
my wife and I have been rewatching the Fast movies, and every single time I love that no matter how much, I mean, from The Fast and the Furious in 1999 to F9 now in 2021, and I'm making this assumption because I know it actually
2001,
happens.
wasn't it? Wasn't S Fast and Furious 2001?
Was it 2000? Okay, 2001. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm putting
Exactly
it back a little bit further than I thought.
2 decades of these movies.
Right. But every single one, no matter how different they've been, they always find a way to have the car show scene that starts with techno music of some sort and a girl's butt right front and center camera and all the cars with the hoods open and then Brian and Dom walking through.
There's plenty of that in this one too. There's one scene, and I'm not gonna spoil anything for the movie for people.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one scene that made me and my friend who was with me laugh, and I was like, I would love to just see the casting notice for this scene because it's just like this big party at this swanky, I think it's a European like kind of mansion,
Right.
and it's just 6 foot tall, leggy models in like white skirts, like tight skirts.
Skirts. They're like handkerchiefs,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
dancing around these cars, and you're like, I just want to know the casting. I just want to see the casting notice. That's all I want
Right.
to see. I just want to
Yeah.
see because she was like, my friend was like, well, I was like, look, like they just invited everybody to this thing for the casting. I was like, no, they didn't invite just anybody. I couldn't get in.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get in.
I wasn't on the list.
they asked for very specific things for this this scene right here.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's in F9.
But I always love that they stayed true to themselves in that way. Like, there could not be a one-on-one heads-up car race in the whole movie, but they will have that scene. That scene will always show up. So I'm really looking forward to that. But less, some fun this week. But I guess Fatherhood, and I guess we can talk about that first. Kevin Hart's movie that has just hit Netflix, Fatherhood, really depends on how you look at it, whether it's fun or not. It's a sweet story. It's a loving story. It's a kind of story that, if you're in a certain position in life, terrifies you beyond all measures and will have you holding tears back. But I think the biggest surprise in Fatherhood for a lot of people will be that Kevin Hart is a good actor. He can carry emotion, he can carry serious scenes. And I think a lot of people forget that about him.
Yeah, and I mean, the story finds him as a father who is suddenly a widower, and he's left to take care of their daughter and basically raise her into being a woman. And that is a scary thing, I imagine, for fathers out there, maybe even for you. This would be a very scary movie to watch in some ways, but maybe also an encouraging one. So I mean, yeah, and Kevin Hart is. I think we do kind of underestimate him a little bit. He hasn't had too many opportunities to show.
Soul Plane was one.
Yeah, of course, Soul Plane. Of course. um, he's shown glimpses of it. Like there are brief moments in like the Think Like a Man films where he has a moment where he gets to say something serious.
Right.
But for the most part, he's not had this kind of opportunity, and it's interesting that he's gotten a chance to do it over on Netflix. I don't know if he's doing a blockbuster film on the big screen. This is the kind of movie that he would do. I really don't know, and I don't know if it would be much of a draw if he did. I can't really tell. It's hard to gauge.
Well, the upside wasn't much of a draw, right? It's kind of not.
Well, I guess the upside is actually a pretty good example. The upside, he actually does get to show some a little bit more of a dramatic side. I would say that probably is the film where he got to do it the most. I actually forgot all about the upside, and that movie was a big hit. I mean, it was a big hit.
Was it? I actually used that example because I thought for some reason that it was not.
No, I'm pretty sure that the upside was. I'm actually checking right now just because I want to make sure. But I'm pretty sure that it was a big hit. I don't know if it was quite on the level of The Intouchables, the movie that it was originally based on. But yeah, $125 million. So yeah.
Oh wow.
The upside was a big hit. I should have known that. I did the box office for it week after week. I guess I should remember, but
yeah, but that was 7 years ago. You've done 100,000 box offices since then.
But yeah, I guess he does. He's shown an ability to do it, and he does it here. I don't know if I would say this is necessarily a great movie though. It's I don't know. It's a bit uneven for me.
Yeah.
But I do think Kevin Hart is the standout here, and I'm glad to see him getting a chance to do stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean this is one of those movies that
This is a
if you're within the
Chris
what's
White,
that?
Chris White's or Paul White's or one of those guys
Mm-hmm.
who did this one.
Uh, I don't think so. Yeah, Paul White's director. Yep, you're right.
Okay, yeah, so
Dana Stevens and Paul White's were the writers. So, but this is
okay.
a
So the guy who did like About a Boy and stuff like that. So
mhm.
he's actually tonally, I would say, is probably right in Paul White's wheelhouse because I would say that's kind of blending real life drama with a bit of offbeat humor is kind of where it works.
Right, right. I mean, this movie, if you're within that bullseye range of its target audience, it's gonna hit you hard. It doesn't really matter that it's formulaic, and that it hits every point you'd expect it to, pretty much outside of the opening scenes. It doesn't really matter if you're within that demographic because it's still gonna hit you hard. I don't know anybody that's married or has kids that hasn't at least thought of that situation where how am I supposed to do this if nobody else is around to help me? And there's some really really sweet moments and real moments between he and Alfred Woodard, who plays his his widowed, well, not his widowed wife, his late wife's mother. And there's some real stuff there. It's like and that's one of the things that you think about is how am I gonna deal with my in-laws and all this kind of stuff. The other real standout for me is, did you ever watch Barry on Showtime with
No,
no.
no.
Yeah, Anthony Kerrigan, who plays Jordan in this movie. I hate to judge people on their looks. He's the weird looking guy, the weird looking white guy. He's just
The Bill Hader show, right?
yeah, Bill Hader. That's right. He's just so good in this. I like that guy in pretty much anything I see him in, which hasn't been much, but he's good. And then Little Rel Howery also. I mean, he doesn't really have much to do. He just basically plays the somewhat sensible friend. But
I'm getting kind of tired of him in that friend role.
I don't think he can do anything outside of it. To be honest with you, he's just got that look that says I'm the friend.
Wasn't he just in Bad Trip?
As the friend, yeah,
Ah, yeah, that's true.
yeah. I mean, he looks like everybody's friend. I don't think he can get out of that. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's a fun Netflix movie. I don't think I think this is, and I've said before, I think this is where Netflix comes in clutch, saving movies like this so that we still have them, still have new movies like this to watch. Because left to the box office, to the theaters alone, I don't think we'd have Fatherhood or any other movies like it.
Now I'm going back and I'm looking back at Paul Weiss's filmography.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I've always found him an interesting filmmaker. So let's look at Paul Weitz for a second.
Run it down.
So okay, so Fatherhood is his most recent.
Mm-hmm.
Now his breakout film. You remember what his breakout film was? Don't you?
American Reunion, obviously.
Well,
I'm just kidding. About a boy, wasn't it? Oh, American Pie, really?
it was American Pie. Are you
Wow.
looking it up now?
Yes.
Why?
I'm following along with you.
Why?
I'm sorry.
I thought you were gonna be. I'm trying to gauge your responses to this.
I only saw American Pie and then I shut it down. I saw About a Boy as well.
I can have you read them along with me. I mean, that's why I asked the question. You know what his breakout was, though. You not. So
I wanted to look informed.
answer it. So he started with American Pie, which he did with Chris White, his bro.
Uh-huh.
Down to Earth, which I remember that.
Was that a Sarah Michelle Gellar movie or something?
No, that was the Chris Rock movie. It was a remake.
Oh, where he's an angel or he's visited by an angel or something like that.
He did About a Boy, which is great. And then In Good Company. You remember that?
I'm trying to remember what it's about. Is there a CIA person in it?
Topher Grace.
That's right. Yeah, he's the younger. Yeah.
Topher Grace is Topher Grace and Dennis Quaid, but I will always remember it. Well, yeah, Scarlett Johansson's in it too. That's the reason why I remember it. Scarlett Johansson was in it. Let's see what else. His resume is actually really quite good. except for American Dreams, which is pretty horrible. You remember that one?
Hugh Grant and it's like the singing competition movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Mandy Moore, it's awful. Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant.
In home video release on a Saturday afternoon, not a bad movie, but it wasn't great.
I agree. Little Fockers, pretty bad.
Yeah, and weird for him to pick up that far into the franchise.
Yeah, that's 2010. It seems like it was longer ago than just 11.
Yeah, because that was like the death of the Fockers franchise. That seems like that would have been just a few years ago.
It's amazing that it was the death of the franchise. I'm pretty sure it made a ton of money. Yeah, $310 million.
Tell you, man.
For little Fockers, man. God damn it, where's the rest of it at? He had a bunch of other stuff after that. It keeps resetting. Oh, there it is. Being Flynn, which is a little movie. This is like, I think the interesting thing is, I think this is the thing that caught my eye about it. Little Fockers is like, you know, when a director like makes that decision where they're like, I'm not going to make any more of these paycheck gigs.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Little Fockers was like that turning point, I think, for Paul Weitz.
I can see how it could do that.
Right. So he makes Little Fockers, which is, you know, critically reviled,
mm-hmm.
but makes a shit ton of money. Probably,
mm-hmm.
I would guarantee you, it is the biggest paycheck he probably ever got.
Right.
But then after that, it's nothing but small movies that are like personal projects. So it's like Being Flynn, which is actually pretty good. Admission with Paul Rudd and Tina Fey.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma with Lily Tomlin, and I think Julia Garner maybe in that. I think Bel Canto, which is like Julianne Moore and Ken Watanabe. Yeah. And then Fatherhood. So yeah, you can see like that clear line, that distinction.
Yeah.
Where it's like no more of these paycheck mercenary gigs where somebody just pays me to do something and I'm just going to do it whether I like it or not.
And very much family related. Like I almost wonder if you go back into his biography, mm-hmm. if 2010 when Little Fockers comes out, he has two things happening. That comes out and destroys his view of making Hollywood movies, and then he has another kid, or he gets remarried, or his mom dies, or something happens in 2010. Because he always made kind of family type movies, but you know, it's almost exclusively that kind of stuff afterwards. He made Bickford Schmeckler's Cool Ideas. That was one of those movies that nobody ever hears about. It's Olivia Wilde and somebody else. But it's like this stupid little...
I have no idea what that is.
It's a stupid little college movie. It's about this guy who's got a notebook of cool ideas, and he meets Olivia Wilde on campus, and she's crazy and pulls him out of his shell and all that kind of stuff. But it's... I want
to meet Olivia Wilde on campus. Why can't I meet Olivia Wilde?
I know. I'll give her a notebook full of stuff.
I bet you would.
And it would be the reasons I cannot talk to her because I'm a married man. That's what would be in my notebook. So...
man. So yeah, I think I both recommend Fatherhood, but I'm not so enthusiastic about it. It's fine. Kevin Hart's pretty good.
I will say if you were about to have a baby in the next month, don't do that to yourself. Just wait until December to watch it. I'm just telling you.
Worst movies to say if you're having a baby, don't watch this movie. Like, don't watch like the
Rosemary's Baby #1 is probably I'd imagine.
Or Joshua or something like that. You don't watch those movies or you're about to have a kid.
Well, don't watch those either. But you know this. You know, because I had that moment just to get because when Angela was having our daughter, she had to get a C-section like after the fact, and that there's nothing scarier than that 10 minutes between them, and they're like, okay, everything you were preparing for is not going to happen. We're going to go ahead and cut a big hole in her and take that baby out of there, and it'll be cool. And like, so watching this movie, I'm just like, oh man, I feel what Kevin Hart. Didn't feel what he was going through, but I've been at the point where I thought that was going to happen.
Let's not ever talk about pregnancy process.
And so then the perineum says, I
don't even know what that word means. No.
On to happier, less grody thoughts. What do you think of Luca?
Pixar. Luca's Pixar's latest. It is for people who don't know what the idea of Luca is, it's set in the Italian Riviera. A lot of movies set in the Italian Riviera lately. Um, and basically, it's a coming of age story. And it centers on a kid named Luca, but um, actually he's a sea creature living under the
Mm-hmm.
sea, and he's sort of overprotective. His parents are overprotective. He's eager to break out and go visit the land, but he's scared because he's been taught that humans are scary, and he's right. Um, but he meets a friend who is living on the land in a small Italian town, and what he learns is that when sea creatures are on land, they take the shape form of humans. They
Mm.
can blend in, and these two become fast friends, staying on the surface. And their goal is to win a big prize so they can buy a Vespa and go travel the world. And while they're on land, they meet a bunch of people, have a lot of adventures, make some enemies, and Luca's parents come looking for him. What did I think about this? I enjoyed Luca just fine. I hate to talk about Pixar movies sometimes because we always fall into the trap of talking about
Comparison.
top tier Pixar, middle of the road Pixar, and the most uncommon, which is like shit Pixar.
Mm.
And really, there's only like one thing in the shit Pixar category. That's The Good Dinosaur. That's the only movie that's down there in the shit Pixar level.
And even
Everything
that
else,
has ardent 5-year-old supporters.
and that's it though. I mean, nothing else. And even for them, I think they'll probably be bored by The Good Dinosaur. That is a forgettable ass movie.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of Pixar stuff is somewhere right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hold Pixar with the reverence that a lot of other people do. Their good stuff is usually amazing, but those things are rare. Your Toy Stories, your Inside Outs, those things are rare. Um, Luca is not the top tier Pixar. It is middle of the road Pixar, and that is still extremely good. That's still very good.
Oh yeah.
And Luca is a really enjoyable movie. For the most part, you'll find that it's like the story within it is fairly formulaic, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But Pixar's smart enough not to just give you some formulaic shit. So they give you this sea creature story where there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, like him dealing with kind of a split life. Where he on one hand he wants to go and live his life, but on the other hand he doesn't want to give up his family and everything he's learned previously as a sea monster. There's that kind of thing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I mean I enjoyed this a good deal, especially towards the animation, which is not typical Pixar. I think
I'm
it's
so glad you said that.
it's brighter. It's a little bit less detailed, but it's like the director whose name I don't remember. It's Enrico something.
Mm-hmm.
He did a film in 2011, a short film called Luna, La Luna,
Casa Rosa.
which is beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. I love it. It's probably my favorite short, or one of them, animated shorts. And the animation style is similar to that. Is
Mm-hmm.
it less detailed than some other Pixar stuff? Yeah, but it's simple and it's straightforward and it's colorful and it gets its emotions across very well. So I really love the animation in this.
I'm just so glad you said, because I thought I was going crazy for a while. While watching this, there was another movie which was non-Pixar that I kept getting flashes of in my head that it reminded me of, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It took me like the entirety of watching the movie to figure out it was Flushed Away, a Sony DreamWorks picture.
Oh, I remember that.
And yeah, I just remember on the cover of the movie has the is it a rabbit or a mouse or whatever it was, on the front, and the eyes and mouth of these characters looks very similar in animation style to that, which kind of was odd because Pixar is known for a very specific style, but like you said, I think the thing that separates the top tier Pixar, and again, I mean, this is if you go back to times we reviewed other Pixar movies, we probably had the same conversation, but the thing that separates top tier from mid tier, which I agree this is totally 100%, is just the is having something to say that's important. Inside Out, teaching kids how to deal with their emotions. Toy Story was the first of its kind, but I think this could have went into that level if they'd leaned more into like the environmentally friendly part of it. Like, You have sea creatures. It becomes more about hiding who you are and being true to yourself than it does about what could be very obvious in today's day and age, things like climate change. And I'm not saying you have to make kids' movies serious or political or anything like that, but there could have been something said there. That being said, the point of this is to entertain kids. And my kids were thoroughly entertained the whole time. I mean, the movie is beautiful. It really captures the essence of Italy. You know,
I want to go to Italy really bad. Like I love the way that town was depicted here.
yeah, and there's a lot of towns just like that. It's been 20 years since I've been, but it's shocking because most places you go and you expect it to look one way and it doesn't. Italy is one of the few places I've been that looks exactly like how you'd expect it to. Right down to I was blown away by this little factoid. So walking down the street of a town just like this, near Assisi, and there was, I don't know where it was coming from. Somebody was playing a guitar or some kind of instrument, and you could hear the music, the Italian type music through the streets. Like this is like a freaking like a movie set. Well, yeah, it was something like that. I mean, it wasn't a mandolin, but it was whatever the Italian guitar is. So no, isn't a mandolin Chinese or Asian? I don't know. I know a Mandalorian is awesome. But yeah, so I guess Luca's a go from both of us as well, huh?
Mandolin, a stringed musical instrument in the lute family. It is Italian.
No kidding. I always thought the mandolin was the thing. No, that's dueling banjos. No, like the thing you hear in like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like that very distinctive Asian music. But apparently I'm wrong. I caught another animated movie, and I'm not sure if you'd seen this or not, but I wasn't even really 100% aware of it, and then I saw Wish Dragon the other night.
What is that?
It's a Netflix animated film. It's basically Asian Aladdin.
Is it Wishmaster spinoff?
No, that would be amazing though. Wishmaster 14, where they reboot everything. But no, Wish Dragon. It's essentially almost beat for beat Asian Aladdin. So it's this little boy who happens upon a jade teapot. The teapot has a dragon, grants him 3 wishes. He misses his friend. But it really goes to show how you can copy a formula exactly and still make it a lot of fun.
Is that the title that's on the poster, Asian Aladdin?
Yeah. They weren't very creative at all when it came to the title, no. Wish Dragon was the title.
Is that your quote? It's like the Asian Aladdin?
Yep. It's like that Asian Aladdin is what I want to say.
Are you gonna send that in to the publicist?
Of course. From Redneck News, John Nolan. But yes, that's another animated film to check out if you guys are out there.
Is that new?
Yeah, it just came out this past weekend.
Good. So where's your review at? Where's it at?
I couldn't get past Asian Aladdin, so didn't really think it would be something worthwhile. So I just figured I'd ting it on here. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll look for that Wish Dragon review.
Oh me.
So we both recommend Luca. Like I said, it's Pixar, so you already know it's good.
Yeah.
I just don't expect like Inside Out. Just don't expect that, or even Soul. Like, and we're talking about what the differences are between Pixar. Pixar is ambition, and Inside Out is highly ambitious with the way it explores and really deconstructs the mind of a teenage girl. Soul with the way it looks at the afterlife, and Toy Story with the way it looks at childhood and the way we grow and evolve into adults and leave the things from our youth behind. These things are ambitious, not just for children, but for adults as well to grasp.
Yeah.
Mid-tier Pixar doesn't really have to deal with that. Cars doesn't really deal with anything of any serious weight. A lot of the Monsters Inc. doesn't either. Not to say these movies are necessarily dumb or even just straight for kids. They're not, but they don't have the same kind of they're not the same kind of aspirations as the top tier Pixar stuff does.
Right.
And Luca, it certainly doesn't either. It's still a good movie though.
I know, and we'll probably talk about this one in full next week as well when I get a chance to see it. But If you guys go check out the site, www.punchdrunkcritics.com right now, you'll see one of our most recent reviews is Werewolves Within, the Milana Weintraub and Sam Richardson, is it? What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Sam Richardson horror comedy that you just reviewed. I caught I'm obviously like most straight men in America. I watched the trailer because it said Milana Weintraub. But the trailer that we got looked so amazing. What?
It's ridiculous.
That's what I'm ridiculous?
I have such a thing for her. It's
ridiculous. Oh. Well, yeah, and then of course she's in this. She plays a post woman, and she's wearing from what I can tell in the trailer at least, she's wearing a post office uniform the entire time. And wow, note to self: don't wear a green logo on your shirt before this.
Not the entire time she's not. She has a scene where she dances at one point, and it is pretty good.
Rosario Dawson and Clerks 2 good?
It's just quirky and cute, and it's too cute for words.
Well,
she's already too cute for words.
Yeah.
And so something like that only makes it.
That's why I'm kind of glad we haven't seen Squirrel Girl that she was supposed to be playing, because I don't think the world is ready for that level of adorableness.
That new Warriors show never did come to pass.
No.
It's the voice Squirrel Girl in the Marvel Rising animated shows. So
yeah,
but she still gets to play Squirrel Girl anyway, which is great.
And in a world where we've got pretty much every A, B, and C level Marvel character, they're gonna need to come back around to Squirrel Girl again. As long as she's playing the voice, she has a shot at it. So
somebody's got to play her in a live action movie at some point, right?
Yeah. For sure.
I want to work that in and make it serious, but they're gonna have to try.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's what we get James Gunn to do after he's done with Suicide Squad.
James Gunn could do it. James Gunn could make James Gunn on like a new Warriors movie could make it happen.
Yep. As we've seen with the new Suicide Squad trailer 2 that came out today, this is a guy you pick when you have all weird.
How did we get to this? You asked about Werewolves Within, but then you didn't really want to know anything about Werewolves Within.
Well, I saw a really easy and good segue, and I took it.
What did you want to know about Werewolves?
Just how it was. I mean, really, let's be honest. The whole question was geared around whether or not she wears anything besides the post office uniform. Oh, and you answered that. Yeah. But is it as good and fun as the trailer suggests?
It's actually really fun. Don't go in there looking for horror, though. It's not that much of a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
At least not if you're looking for those sort of things. It's not a whole lot of it. I would liken it closer to Knives Out than anything else. It's not as good as Knives Out.
Wow, that's like the last movie that I expected to be compared to.
I mean, in terms of style, it's a whodunit murder mystery more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Set in a small town with a whole lot of big personalities, having a lot of different conflicts that intersect with this murder mystery going on. There's a little bit of gruesomeness to it, but very little. And the tension is still kind of lighthearted. And I'm a big fan of Sam Richardson too. He's going to be in the Tomorrow War also coming up in a week or so.
Which, not to interrupt you, but that's an interview you can check out with Chris Pratt for the Tomorrow War on our site, www.punchdrunkcritics.com.
Yeah, and I got another interview for that movie coming up in later this week. So
it's always a good sign when they're really pushing the interviews, because that means that they want word out there. So
actually, I might hold that one for next week. But yes, you got some good stuff for that. And I'm still trying to get an interview for Werewolves Within too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to get something like that. I was hoping to get no intro, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Maybe I'll get Sam Richardson if I'm lucky. We've already talked to Josh Rubin, who's Cortland did. She talked to him for his previous film, Scare Me, which had our girl from The Boys in it. What's her name? The one who played.
The one who plays the girl?
No, the villain girl. The one who's.
Not Homelander. The Nazi chick.
Yeah. I can't remember her name all of a sudden. This is what happens when you get old, folks. I just can't remember anything anymore.
Welcome to Alzheimer's Weekly with the Punch Drunk Critics. Neither one of us can remember shit.
It's like it sometimes. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But anyway, Portland talked to Josh Rubin for that movie. Same guy who did Werewolves Within.
Nice.
So, and the tones for those are actually pretty similar.
Mm.
which is a surprise.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, this seems like a fun movie that I'll have in my queue come Halloween because I like to mix it. I've still got a little bit of that little kid thing left where I watch a scary movie and I got to watch cartoons afterwards, help myself get to bed. So this seems like one of the buffer films. It'll be a lot of fun to watch and still get you in that mood. But yeah, so back to my amazing segue. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad released its second trailer today. You can check that out, the site that I keep on rattling off for you, punchdrunkcritics.com. And I don't think anybody really needed to be sold more on this film after the first trailer came out. But I'll tell you, is it just me or now, might not be fair to say breakout, but John Cena is gonna pop off the screen in this, and he's been kind of flirting with like the dumb meathead roles, but nobody does it better than him. Nobody.
I mean, he's a dumb meathead in WWE for a decade, so I mean, I guess he should be good at it.
Well, right, but now he's like, a really comedic edge to it. And in fairness, I haven't watched him in WWE that much, but
His met the man in person.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't watch him wrestling. I'm intimidated to watch any person whose arm is bigger than my entire upper body on TV. So
yeah, it is true. He is.
Biggest arms I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no, it does look like Peacemaker might be the breakout character of this movie, which is probably why he's getting that spin-off series on HBO Max with James Gunn.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. So Peacemaker looks like he's going to be hilarious in this. I'm excited. I'm excited for Suicide Squad, man. I read a lot of haters on Twitter about this one already, and they're mainly people who are hashtagging restore the Snyderverse the entire time. So I doubt their motives.
Yeah. Well, two things can't exist at the same time, Travis.
I know you can't like one thing and then still want something else. Like apparently that's impossible, right?
Right. Exactly.
Like I want the Snyderverse to come back as well. I mean, I'd be happy with it. I don't think it should be ignored anyway.
Well, I mean, you have to remember that comics, for the entirety of their history, which these movies are based on, have always held to a very strict and singular continuity.
Oh, of course.
So to break that in the movie realm would be,
especially in DC Comics, they don't
heretical.
They don't change their continuity every other fucking week over at DC Comics or anything. Nope.
52.
Yeah. It can't go 5 years without rebooting everything. That's just the way they are.
Right.
No, I'm really looking forward to this. My biggest curiosities are how big of a role Harley Quinn has, and how closely it ties into Birds of Prey if it does it all. I'm very curious about that, and I want to know if there's going to be more of these. That's the other thing. Like, I think James Gunn is done with Marvel after Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think he's probably finished with them.
Oh yeah.
He'll go and do other things, but will he come back to DC and do more Suicide Squad or do more of stuff in the DCEU? I hope so. I'm not always a huge fan of James Gunn pre-superhero stuff, but
Slither was good.
It's not really my type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I get why people like it, but it's not really my type of thing. Did he do Super?
Yep, with Rainn Wilson.
Yeah.
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah. It took me a few watches to like Super. I didn't like it at first.
I mean, he comes from Trauma Films, right? So, I mean, he's always going to have that weird. I mean, this is, if you look back at his CV.
Toxic Avenger.
Right, exactly. He's kind of been preparing his whole life to take on movies like this that are just that level of weird. I mean, I can see what you're saying about Harley. I almost wonder if she's not going to either bookend or just be sprinkled throughout, because I think she pulls too much focus. It's impossible to have any other stars when she's there. Idris Elba is obviously going to fill the main protagonist role, but my only issue with the character choice there, and maybe this is by choice because they couldn't include Deadshot, but how similar those two characters are. I mean, Bloodsport and Deadshot, both assassins, both hearts of gold underneath everyone else. I mean, everything else, and both having daughters that are held as their linchpin. But
it does seem a little on the nose. But
I do love that you can see in this trailer very clearly why Viola Davis is the only person that could play um, um, shit, what's her name? Amanda Waller. I mean, that's always been a character that pops off the page of any comic she's in. She's always been a tough as nails woman in like a man's field, even back in the 80s, or what was perceived as a man's field, and holding her own. And she's just ruthless, and I don't know, it looks amazing. And then if you check out the trailer, which is up on the site now, the thing that surprised me the most was how good Weasel looks. He almost looks like a practical effect.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I think it looks fantastic. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you're excited about that's coming up?
I know what you're excited about.
What?
That's an upcoming Transformers movie. We've been teased with Beast Wars for years and years and years. And just today we got news that the next Transformers film will be set in the 90s and will take on the Beast Wars.
Yeah, it's gonna be called. Well, shit. I just put down the title and I don't remember what it was.
Rise of the Beasts.
Rise of the Beasts. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be, like you said, set in the 90s. 1994 exactly, and it's gonna be, which puts it between Bumblebee and the Michael Bay movies.
Mm-hmm.
And all that continuity is still exists.
I don't know how you could have robotic beasts and then everybody be surprised about the Transformers in 2005 or whatever, but
I don't know how they're going to do that. I really don't. Maybe they're in Cybertron.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
They could be in Cybertron. I really don't know.
Now, I only ever paid attention to the OG Transformers, so I'm not a hip to the Beast Wars and the Dino Wars. We saw a bit of the Dino bots in the last of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Is Beast Wars the same as Dinobots, or are that two separate sections?
They're different, but the Dinobots exist in the Beast Wars chronology too. So I'm probably the wrong guy to ask about the Beast Wars era, because I kind of tuned Transformers. It's like the rare time where I tuned out Transformers.
I was gonna say I asked you because you literally have a Decepticon on your arm.
No, it's true, I do. But I didn't at the time. I didn't really consider Beast Wars Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew it was, and they were using the characters that I knew, but that wasn't the Transformers. So I wasn't paying that much attention to Beast Wars.
Right.
So I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I've never really gone back to like catch up on it either. I've never really had much interest. If I'm honest, I still don't have a whole lot of interest in Beast Wars. I do have an interest in seeing another Transformers movie, though. So that's why I'm curious about this one. And I like what they've done in terms of casting and the director so far. So it's going to be directed by Stephen Caple Jr., who did Creed 2. He also did a terrific movie that came out before that, his breakthrough, a movie called The Land, which is a Cleveland set kind of coming-of-age crime movie. It's really good. But it's also going to star Anthony Ramos from In the Heights,
Mm-hmm.
and Dominique Fishback from Judas and the Black Messiah. So, I mean, so far, it sounds great. I'm really interested to see how this is going to work out and how it fits in with the entire Transformers continuity that they've established in the big screen. If they're not going to ditch all that stuff and this is going to be part and parcel of all that, then I'm curious to see how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board just because of Bumblebee. Like, I've liked pretty much all of the Transformers movies. I thought the Michael Bay movies were fun, and the first two were really good.
I don't remember you liking all these movies. They got really bad.
The third one I didn't like, and I mean they got progressively worse. There was less to like in each one, but the first Transformers movie I loved. I mean, not loved, but I liked a lot.
I think you remember. I was not a fan of most of them.
Yeah.
Because to me, that wasn't Transformers either.
Right.
Like, Bumblebee was the first one that was like, okay, we're doing Transformers finally.
Exactly. I mean, even the looks, like, I remember when Transformers first came out and I saw Optimus Prime and I was like, that's not, Optimus Prime doesn't have flames. What is all this crap? Because it's such an iconic and simple design. But, yeah, I'm interested. I was never, like I said, on the Beast Wars, and I love the Transformers, but just like the original run, basically. So, but if they follow the same kind of heart that they had for Bumblebee, I'm all in.
Probably what they're gonna try and do. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's gonna be set in the '90s. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'm very curious. Very curious.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of Ace of Base on the soundtrack. We're nearing the hour, but there's just a couple more things. Number one, Hiroyuki Sanada is joining John Wick 4. Most recently, you guys would have seen him as Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. And I was kind of surprised to see the.
One of my favorite actors in the world.
Yeah. I don't remember him in any of these things that you have. You have him listed as Army of the Dead, Wolverine, and Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Who was he in Endgame?
In Endgame, he was the guy that Ronan was chasing after. He was the criminal that he killed basically in Japan.
Oh.
He starred in Sunshine, which is an amazing Danny Boyle sci-fi.
Oh, I saw Ronan, and I was thinking Ronan the Accuser. That's why I was so confused. Okay.
That's
yep.
Ronan. That's Ronan. Yeah. I don't know how you don't remember him in the Wolverine.
The Wolverine, I remember him, but I don't remember him in Army of the Dead, and I just watched that.
Yeah. Well, who's the guy who put them on the mission to begin with?
Oh, that was him, wasn't it? I'm just an idiot. Is apparently what it is.
John Wick. He's going to be in John Wick 4, so he's going to be reuniting with Keanu Reeves. They starred in 47 Ronin together a few years ago, which is another movie that got really killed by critics, but I really enjoyed it. I'm glad to see those two back together again too. So
for sure.
He's got a great cast in it already. He's got Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen, I'm in. That's all you need to get me to watch something. And then the last thing we just came up right before we went on. You had me watch this trailer.
What'd you think about the Karen trailer, John?
I mean, it's anxiety inducing for me to watch. Taryn Manning I don't know when she cornered the market on trashy, but she is so good in those type of roles. And especially
the trashy role since Crazy Beautiful. I mean, she's always sort of been that. She's been that since Boomcat days.
But see, I remember her being like she was never a typical. No, I guess she was. I'm thinking all the way back to, and this is the worst reference point. I'm gonna get roasted on this, but in Britney Spears' Crossroads, she was like pregnant in that too, wasn't she?
I think, but she's not quite on like Bijou Phillips level. Like Bijou Phillips is like super white trash.
See, Manning's look, it goes above that. I mean, I just see, and the fact that, so Karen's, it's a movie about a African American couple that moves into a neighborhood, and there's a Karen next door who's apparently a horrible racist and doing all the things that
The name Karen is obviously, what it means in real life. It is a entitled white woman. Who tends to take out her aggressions on black people usually by using her race and our race, her race in her favor and our race against us. So black people having to cook out, call the cops. You don't want them there, call the cops. Black person walking their dog in the park, call the cops on him.
Well, walking a dog in a park, that's just suspicious, Travis.
Well, obviously.
People need to, think about what they're doing.
Black person gets his coffee ahead of you at Starbucks, call the cops. That's what they do. The sad thing is, when cops tend to encounter black people for innocent things, we tend to die. So when white people do make these things, when Karens make these frivolous calls, they put us in real danger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, Karen is sort of like Lakefront Terrace or Lakeview Terrace. You remember that movie?
Oh yeah, yeah. Wait, what? Lakeview Terrace was the one where Samuel Jackson was a cop, right?
Yes.
And they were an interracial couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, except it's Taryn Manning is playing a Karen, and she is terrorizing a black couple in her suburb.
I just can't wait until a middle-aged white woman, most likely named Karen from Oklahoma, gets on Good Morning America and talks about, because the film's being put out by BET, so that's people are going to draw lines on that and say that it's assault on our white privilege or something.
It looks awful, but it's causing quite a bit of buzz on the internet. um, for obvious reasons. A lot of
Mhm.
people comparing it to Jordan Peele's Get Out, or at least they're saying that it's trying to be like Jordan Peele's Get Out. I don't necessarily see that.
I
I
don't
don't
see
think
that at
I don't
all. I
I
mean,
don't
other
see
than
that
race
either.
plays a key role.
I think it's lazy comparison,
Hmm.
honestly, to use that. But that's what people are comparing it to. Like I said, it looks more like View Terrace to me than anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, it looks like it could be really really awful, um, like hilariously so. But yeah, it doesn't have a release date yet. But I will be keeping an eye out for it because I definitely want to see it.
Has BET done a lot of films? I don't remember seeing their studio logo anywhere.
I'm sure they have, and I probably just don't know. I'm sure they have. They're probably like WWE studios at this point. They back a bunch of movies that you probably aren't aware of.
Yeah.
You know.
Um, and then I got just one last thing that I got to post a little bit later on the site is that the VHS anthology films. Yeah, you remember liking those at all?
No, I never really watched them.
They were the first two were really good. The second one had one of the best vignettes of any of these anthology movies in it. But Shudder, who has been awesome lately for every horror movie fan. If you don't have Shudder, it's like $6. Actually, you can get AMC Plus on Amazon Prime for like $8, and you get Shudder and IFC and a bunch of other stuff. But if you're a horror fan and you don't have Shudder, you need to fix that immediately because there's Into the Darkness and Into the Darkness 2, which are 4 hours each documentaries on basically the history of horror throughout the 80s. They're so watchable. The time flies by. But then VHS 94 is the fourth film in the series, and that's going to be coming out later this year in North America on Shudder. So they're doing a lot of direct releases, like the amusement park, which I wrote a review on a couple weeks ago, was a Shudder release. So
We get more stuff from Shutter to review than almost anybody. I don't give like anybody. I don't give you a fraction of it.
oh, I get them because, and the reason they started coming in was we were doing something sometime, and I wasn't in a good mood because I wrote back to Shutter rep and just told, kissed his butt about how awesome Shutter's been for the last year, and ever since that time, I think they put us on every single release, press release that comes out, and I mean, we even get a lot. I mean, the thing is, also buyer beware because Shutter does put out a shit ton of film. I mean, the one type of film made more than any other type of film is the horror movie. It can be made cheaply, independently, so there's a lot of stuff out there you got to filter through. But Shutter's definitely a good place to get some of that filtering done for you.
Yeah.
So, anything else you had for the slate?
Nope, that's it. I'm looking forward to talking about F9 next episode.
Me too. We've been. I think I mentioned to you.
Entire Fast and Furious retrospective. I keep saying I'm going to watch all the movies again in order, and
Let's do it.
I've not done it yet. I don't know if I'll have time to do
Well,
it.
we don't have any other films coming out this week, right? Other than F9.
We have Werewolves Within. We have F9. I'm sure there's something else I can't think of.
Because we can devote the whole hour to going through the Fast and Furious movies. I think that would be a lot of fun too, actually. Because I'd love.
We might want to bring somebody else in to join us on something like that, but we should talk about that, like maybe Julian or something. Julian is a Fast and Furious fanatic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might want to bring in somebody else to talk about it. So.
Well, that should be fun. We should do it. And I think I'm gonna, if I can get the copyright. I'm sure it's copyright protected. We won't be able to actually do it, but I would love to do a supercut of all the booty shaking car scenes throughout Fast and Furious and rank them.
On YouTube, and you looked up something like that, you could probably find it.
It's already there, but I like to think I have original ideas, even if I don't.
One of the things I've discovered while doing my real action series for Joe Blow is that if I type in anything, I'll find it.
Yeah, pretty much.
If I want like an individual moment from a scene that I thought was stupid, but I want it so I can have it put into our video, I can find it.
Somebody will have made it up there, yeah, for sure.
Someone else has noticed it, and someone else has done it.
Which blows my mind because we get nicked for copyright infringement if we play a trailer at more than half the screen size. But some people can put out supercuts of all this stuff and make money off of it. Neither here nor there. We are the Punch Drunk Critics, guys. You can check our site out, as I've mentioned ad nauseum today, www.punchdrunkcritics.com. That's www.punchdrunkcritics.com. Every day for all the reviews and news and trailers, all that good stuff is right there. If you're not able to check the site and you want to get the updates right away, follow us on Twitter. The site is at PDC Movies. Travis is at Punchy Critic, and I am at Punch Drunk John. We're getting close to some workings with Twitch, folks, so I'll have my handle to add to this list soon, but for now, make sure to subscribe to Travis's channel at cinematic_enforcer on Twitch. That's at cinematic_enforcer. For any tips, questions, if you're interested in trying your hand at writing, we're always looking for unique points of view and voices to come and join our team. So get your voice out there. If you have any tips about an upcoming movie or anything like that, shoot it to us at info@punchdrunkcritics.com.
If you have any Marvel tips, like something that's coming out that no one else knows about, send it to us.
Yes. And not something you got from like one of the sites that's that's one of the things I hate the most about YouTube is I don't understand how people get the views, but just the horrible, not even clickbait, live videos they have. It's like George Lucas announces Star Wars Episode 10, see the early footage, and it's just somebody talking about it. That's a rant for another time. Until next week, folks, I'm John.
I'm Travis.
We're the Punch Drunk Critics, and we are out of here.
Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.